There is a hole in your Chihuahua's skull. I don't mean an injury, and I don't mean a defect. There's a gap in the bone at the top of the head, about where you'd rest your thumb, and in most Chihuahuas it never closes for as long as the dog lives. Breeders call it the molera. It's written into the official breed standard, and the great majority of owners will spend 16 years with that dog, brushing that head every single day, and never once know that it's there. That's fact number 1 of 18. My name is Elias Marek. I'm 68 years old, and I've spent 50 of those years working dogs in the high pastures. Livestock guardians that slept out with the flock in the snow, herding dogs that earned their food twice over before breakfast. People assume an old shepherd only respects the big breeds, but the sharpest dog I ever handled weighed 5 pounds and rode down the mountain in the pocket of my coat. Some of what follows is strange history. Some of it will save you real money at the veterinary clinic. Number 11 explains almost every badly behaved Chihuahua that's ever been handed to me. And number 18 is the reason I started making these at all. Let's start with that skull. Number 1. The molera. A human baby is born with a soft spot on the top of the head, and it closes by the age of 2. In the Chihuahua, that same gap in the bone frequently stays open for life. Put your fingers on the crown of a Chihuahua's head and press gently, and you may find a small dip where there's skin and membrane and no bone underneath. It isn't a deformity, and it isn't rare. The American Kennel Club standard permits it. What that means in practice is simple. You don't thump a Chihuahua on the top of the head the way people slap a Labrador on the shoulder, and you don't let a toddler grab that skull. A knock in the wrong place is a serious injury rather than a bump. 50 years of handling dogs teaches you where an animal is fragile, and on this one, the fragile part is the roof of the brain. Number 2, the name is a place, and the dog is far older than the name. The Chihuahua is named for the Mexican state of Chihuahua, a stretch of desert and canyon and dry mountain in the north of the country. Around the 1850s, American travelers crossing near the border started buying these tiny dogs from local families and carrying them home, and the name simply came from where they bought them. In 1904, the American Kennel Club registered the first one, a dog called Midget. The breed itself runs back centuries further, to a small companion dog called the Tachichi, kept by the Toltec people and later by the Aztecs. Archaeologists have pulled the bones of these little dogs out of burial sites, laid alongside their owners, because they were believed to guide the dead. So the animal shivering on your sofa in a knitted sweater has ancestors who were buried as sacred escorts in the temples of central Mexico. Not bad for a 5-pound dog. Number 3. 2 completely different coats can come out of the same litter. The smooth coat Chihuahua and the long coat Chihuahua aren't separate breeds. They're one breed, and the long coat is carried on a recessive gene. 2 short-haired parents can quietly both carry it and produce a puppy with feathered ears, a plumed tail, and long fur down the backs of the legs. The timing catches new owners out. That long coat is slow. A long coat puppy often looks almost smooth at 8 weeks and doesn't finish growing its full coat until somewhere past 2 years old. People buy what looks like a smooth puppy and end up with a small flowing show dog. Nobody lied to them. The genetics just took their time. Number 4. Apple head, deer head, and the word teacup. Look at a Chihuahua from the side. If the skull is round like an apple and the muzzle drops away from the forehead at a sharp angle, close to 90 degrees, that's an apple head, and that's what the breed standard asks for in the show ring. If the head is longer, the muzzle more sloped, the whole face closer to a miniature fawn, that's a deer head. A deer head Chihuahua is a purebred Chihuahua. It just won't win at a dog show. Then there's teacup. Teacup isn't a size, it isn't a variety, and it isn't recognized by any kennel club on earth. It's a word invented to add several $100s to a price tag, and the dogs sold under it are often runts or deliberately undersized, which brings fragile bones, unstable blood sugar, and short lives. If somebody tells you they breed teacup Chihuahuas, you've just learned something useful about that person. Number 5. The shivering usually has nothing to do with being cold. Watch a Chihuahua standing on a warm kitchen floor in July, trembling like it's out in a snowstorm. 3 things are happening at once. A tiny body loses heat fast because it has a lot of surface compared to the amount of dog inside it. That same body runs a quick metabolism, and quick metabolisms generate a fine, constant tremor. And most commonly of all, it's adrenaline, excitement, anticipation, the doorbell, a stranger, the leash coming off the hook. So the shaking is normal, except when it isn't. Shaking that comes with a wobble in the back legs, glassy eyes, or a puppy that suddenly goes quiet and limp is not excitement. That's a blood sugar crash. And that's number 6. Number 6. A Chihuahua puppy can run out of fuel in a matter of hours. This one has saved dogs, so pay attention to it. A very small puppy carries almost no stored sugar in its liver. Skip a meal, get stressed at the vet, play too hard, get too cold, and the reserve empties. The signs are weakness, staggering, a puppy that seems drunk or sleepy at the wrong moment, gums going pale, and in the worst cases, seizures. The old shepherd answer and the modern veterinary answer are the same here. Get sugar across the gums immediately. A little corn syrup, honey, or sugar water rubbed onto the gums with a finger goes straight into the bloodstream without needing the puppy to swallow properly. You should see a change within minutes. Then you warm the puppy up and you get to a veterinarian anyway, because something caused it. Small dogs need small meals often, 3 or 4 a day for a young Chihuahua, not one big bowl in the morning. Number 7. Pound for pound, they carry one of the biggest brains in the dog world. Measure brain weight against body weight, and the Chihuahua comes out at or near the top of every list. You'll see that figure quoted as proof they're the smartest breed, which is a longer argument than it looks. But I'll tell you what it looks like from the training bench. They learn extremely fast, faster than most working dogs I've handled. And they learn everything, including all the things you never meant to teach them. Bark and the human picks me up. Growl and the hand goes away. Shake and someone wraps me in a blanket. A Chihuahua works out the levers in your house inside a fortnight, and then spends the next 12 years pulling them. That speed of learning is the reason the breed has the reputation it has, and we'll come back to that. Number 8. Going under the blanket. Every Chihuahua owner knows the routine. You sit down, the dog burrows under a cushion, a coat, a duvet, and disappears entirely. People find it charming and assume the dog is cold. It goes deeper than that. This is denning behavior, the same instinct that puts a fox in a burrow. Small prey-sized animals feel safe with weight and darkness on all sides. So give it somewhere proper instead of discouraging it. A covered bed, a fleece blanket folded into a cave, a crate with a cloth over 3 sides. A Chihuahua with a real den sleeps better, barks less, and is calmer with visitors in the house. It also stops the genuine hazard of a small dog buried in the sofa cushions while somebody is about to sit down. Number 9. They're among the longest-lived dogs on the planet. The average Chihuahua lives somewhere between 14 and 18 years, and reaching 20 isn't unheard of. In 2022, Guinness recognized a Chihuahua named Toby Keith, living in Florida, as the oldest living dog in the world at 21 years old. Sit with that for a moment before you buy one. A Labrador is a decade of your life. A Chihuahua is closer to 2. Whatever your circumstances look like now, this dog will still be trotting across the kitchen floor when your children have left home. That length of life is also exactly why the health facts coming up matter so much. Small problems get a very long time to become expensive ones. Number 10. Every record for the smallest dog on earth belongs to this breed. Millie, a Chihuahua from Puerto Rico, measured 3.8 inches at the shoulder and could stand in a soup spoon as a puppy. Pearl, a Chihuahua living in Orlando, Florida, took the title of world's smallest living dog at around 3.5 inches tall and a shade over a pound in weight. The two dogs are related. I've handled Anatolian Shepherds that weighed 140 pounds and could turn a wolf. The distance between that animal and Pearl is the widest size range in any single species of land mammal on Earth, and it happened in roughly 15,000 years because humans kept choosing. There's no other creature we've stretched that far. Number 11. Small dog syndrome is not in the breed, it is put there. This is the one I promised you at the start, and it's the one I care most about. There's a well-known survey study out of the University of Pennsylvania in which owners scored their own dogs on aggressive behavior, and Chihuahuas came out near the top of the list for snapping at strangers and at their own people. Everybody quotes that as proof the breed is nasty. I don't read it that way at all, and here's why. Take any behavior a Chihuahua does: lunging at a stranger's hand, growling from the owner's lap, screaming at the mailman. Now imagine a German Shepherd doing exactly those things. That German Shepherd is booked into a training class by the end of the week. The Chihuahua gets picked up, cuddled, and called sassy. That's the entire mechanism. A small dog is easy to lift out of trouble, so it never meets a consequence. It's easy to carry, so it never learns to walk past a strange dog calmly. And it gets rewarded with warmth at precisely the moment it's showing fear. Do that a few hundred times and you've built the animal. The breed didn't do this, we did. Train a Chihuahua the way you'd train a working dog. Same rules, same calm, same expectations, adjusted only for the length of the legs. I've taken on rescued Chihuahuas that were fully feral toward strangers and had them walking politely through a market square in 8 weeks. There's nothing wrong with the raw material. Now before number 12, one practical thing. Almost every fact left on this list ends the same way, at a veterinary counter with a bill in your hand. Most of that bill is avoidable if you know what to watch for, and you're willing to do 10 minutes of work a week at home. I put 50 years of that into the dog savings manual. 25 systems covering food, health checks, grooming, and training, written for people who'd rather do the work themselves than pay somebody to do it badly. The link is in the description below if you want it. Right, number 12, and this is the one that limps. Number 12, the skipping step and what's really happening in that knee. Watch a Chihuahua trotting across a park, and you'll often see it hop for a stride or two, holding one back leg up, then carry on as if nothing happened. That's a luxating patella. The kneecap is sliding out of its groove because the groove in a toy breed's leg is shallow and then popping back in. Veterinarians grade it 1 to 4. Grade 1 slips occasionally and returns on its own. Grade 4 sits permanently out of place. Left alone, the joint grinds, arthritis sets in, and by 10 years old, you're looking at a dog in constant pain or at surgery. What actually helps costs nothing at all. Keep the dog lean, because every extra ounce loads that joint. Stop the repeated jumping down off high beds and sofas and put a ramp or a step there instead. Keep the nails short so the foot lands square, and keep muscle on the hind legs with steady walking on flat ground rather than frantic bursts on tile floors. Number 13. That goose honk cough is coming from the windpipe. If a Chihuahua makes a dry, honking cough when it gets excited or pulls against the leash, that's the sound of a collapsing trachea. The windpipe of a toy breed is held open by rings of cartilage, and in this breed, those rings soften and flatten, so the airway narrows every time the dog breathes in hard. It's progressive and it isn't curable, but it's very manageable, and one change here makes a bigger difference than anything else on this list. Take the collar off the walking leash and put the dog in a harness. A collar puts every ounce of pulling pressure directly onto the weakest part of that windpipe. A properly fitted harness spreads it across the chest. Keep the dog slim, keep it out of smoke, and use the harness from the first day. I wouldn't walk any dog under 15 pounds on a neck collar. Number 14. The mouth is the most expensive part of a Chihuahua. A Chihuahua has the same 42 adult teeth as a wolf, packed into a jaw the length of your thumb. They overlap, they twist, they trap food. This breed also very commonly keeps its baby canines when the adult ones come through, so you get 2 teeth in one socket and a permanent gap for bacteria to sit in. The result is that dental disease often begins before a Chihuahua's 3rd birthday, and by 7, a neglected mouth means extractions under anesthetic. In an old dog, that bacterial load reaches the heart and the kidneys. This is one of the genuine reasons small dogs die. So look in the mouth weekly. If you see a baby canine still sitting beside an adult tooth in a 6-month-old puppy, that needs to come out. Brush the teeth, even briefly, even badly. 2 minutes with a soft brush at the kitchen table 3 times a week is worth more to this dog than any supplement you'll ever buy. Number 15. They genuinely can't hold their own heat. The sweater on a Chihuahua is practical equipment, whatever it looks like. A 5-pound animal with a thin coat sheds body heat fast, and a Chihuahua left out in cold rain can go hypothermic in a length of time that wouldn't trouble a border collie at all. The other direction is just as sharp. That same body heats up quickly, and a Chihuahua walking on hot asphalt in summer is sitting inches from a surface radiating that heat back up at it. Walk early, walk late, and put the back of your hand flat on the ground first. If you can't hold it there for 7 seconds, neither can your dog's feet. Number 16. The rare colors are rare for a reason. Merle Chihuahuas, the ones with the mottled, splashed coat, and blue Chihuahuas, the ones with the smoky gray tone, get advertised as exotic and priced accordingly. There's a problem underneath. The Merle gene in dogs is linked to deafness and to eye defects, and the risk climbs steeply when 2 Merle parents are bred together. The Kennel Club in the United Kingdom stopped registering Merle Chihuahuas outright, which is a strong statement from a registry. The blue coat, meanwhile, is a dilution of black, and dilute coats carry a condition called color dilution alopecia, where the hair thins and breaks, and the skin underneath turns itchy and prone to infection, usually starting in the first 2 years. None of that makes an individual dog a bad dog. If you already own one, watch the skin and get the hearing checked. But when a breeder charges you a premium for a color, understand that the premium is often being charged for the risk itself. Number 17. Why a Chihuahua puppy costs what it costs. A Labrador may drop 8 or 9 puppies in a litter. A Chihuahua typically has 1 to 3, and because the puppies inherit that round apple skull while the mother has a narrow pelvis, a large proportion of Chihuahua litters have to be delivered by C-section in a veterinary theater at night at emergency rates. So a responsible breeder spends real money on health testing, monitoring, and quite often surgery in order to produce 2 puppies. That's where the price comes from, and it also tells you something about the cheap ones. When you see Chihuahua puppies advertised for the price of a takeaway dinner for 2, the arithmetic doesn't work, and something has been skipped, usually the veterinary care of the mother. Number 18, and this is the one I want you to actually remember. Walk into a municipal shelter almost anywhere in the United States, and particularly in California, and you'll find the kennels lined with Chihuahuas. In many of them, they're the single most common breed through the door. There's a history to it. In the late 1990s, a talking Chihuahua was on every television in America, selling fast food. And a few years later came the era of the small dog carried in a handbag through airports and hotel lobbies. Demand went vertical. Breeders bred for the money, and then the fashion moved on. What was left behind was hundreds of thousands of small, intelligent, long-lived dogs bought as accessories, never trained, and surrendered the moment they behaved like dogs. They're still there. They live to 16 and beyond. They're cheap to feed, and an adult rescue Chihuahua with steady handling turns into one of the finest companions you'll ever keep. So look at what these 18 facts actually add up to. You have an animal with a genuinely ancient bloodline, an unclosed gap in its skull, one of the highest brain-to-body ratios in the dog world, a burrowing instinct, a fragile knee, a soft windpipe, an overcrowded mouth, and a lifespan approaching 2 decades. Nearly every serious problem this breed has is either preventable or catchable early by a person who puts their hands on the dog regularly and knows what normal feels like. That's the whole method. It costs attention rather than money. I learned it 50 miles from the nearest veterinarian, where knowing the difference between a cough and a collapsing windpipe decided whether the dog saw the spring. Subscribe, and I'll do this for another breed next week. The next one is the small dog that ends up on my training bench more often than any other. And tonight, run your hands over your dog, from the crown of that little head down to the toes. Learn what normal feels like on your own animal, because everything else on this list follows from that.